First of all, apologies. This is not a Manchester United themed YouTube channel. This is a football channel where I speak about all stories. Lately, there had been a lot of talk about Isak in Newcastle, and that will return because we haven't got a conclusion there. But Man United, starting the season poorly in their opening 2 games, yet to score a goal themselves, only benefiting off an own goal to get themselves a point, had a historic elimination to 4th Division Grimsby Town last night. And of course, I reacted to that video last night. And if you haven't seen my reaction, go check it out. It's the previous upload to this one. But we've all had a little bit of sleep. I know we're all either terribly excited or in a great state of despair if you're a Man United fan. It's time for some serious, lucid reflection. Look, the stories will develop in football. We'll move away from United. There can be too much Man United. It's everywhere. We're oversaturated. You know, I'll return to speaking about the other big 6 clubs. Maybe some Classico stuff. Who knows? Maybe some European stuff. Don't worry. It's all going to return. So welcome on back, by the way. Thank you for joining me. We are so close now to the target of 20,000 subscribers. I'm confident it will happen by the end of the summer. When does the summer end? I don't know. Some point in September? I don't, whatever. Point being, in the coming weeks, I hope, like 2 or 3 weeks, I feel like maybe we can hit that target of 20,000 subscribers. And if you want to support me, like and subscribe. And yeah, new call to action. If you do have hype points for your YouTube account, it's down here somewhere. Hype the video. You just tap the button. I haven't yet to see people do it on like YouTube TV apps or browsers, but I'm guessing it's that hype button's down there as well. So thank you for hyping, liking, and subscribing. It's a lot now, isn't it? Comment, like, subscribe, hype. Yeah, seems like a lot. Eventually, you know, I'll get to 20k. I'll stop asking people. I'll just start talking. All right, so Manchester United, bro. The memes across today have been potent. That, you know, we've seen loads of different edits of, you know, Ruben Amorim when he was moving around their tactical boards. People have had him, you know, screening up. Also, there's a very funny DJ edit that I found and put on my socials. And lots of people calling for him to leave. Lots of people. I've seen, you know, big Man United content creators be, you know, perhaps apathetic, don't know what to do. Some have been like, get him out. Some have been like trying to divert the, you know, the eye elsewhere. Like you got like Saeed, he's funny content creator, go check him out. He's very much just get out Amorim. Mark Goldbridge just decided to focus all his pain and hatred towards Manchester United goalkeeper Andre Onana. I think, you know, Terry of the Football Terrace was a bit more like, not agnostic, but a bit more just like, whatever, it's all rotten. And yeah, like kind of is, man. Like Man United is screwed top to bottom in a really peculiar way that I've just struggled to understand. It's this weird like philosophical thought experiment, Man United now. They were the best, they're the biggest team in England still. That's why I'm talking about it yet again, right? Because they are. They've won 20 titles. They've, you know, they've got the biggest international fan base of an English club around the world. They, you know, have iconic teams and that just sort of dominate. I know Liverpool have got a lot of titles, but Man United dominated in the Premier League era. And the Premier League era is the best era. I'm sorry, Arsenal fans who won a bunch of league titles when you were kicking like, you know, pigskin footballs pre-wartime. But in terms of really evaluating, it's Premier League era stuff. You know, there's a reason why people talk about the Premier League's top goal scorer and not like Dixie Dean and stuff like that. It's the modern era. It's the modern era where it was relevant. And Man United are those guys, so they're still huge. They've entered that because they're so big. They make so much money, even though you've got, you know, Jim Ratcliffe saying they're broke, but they've just spent, you know, hundreds of millions on players and they're yet to sell make any sale revenue. So it's just more testament to the fact how there is always money to spend for Man United. And those players, you know, all three of those players that were like the bulk of their spending, you know, Mbeumo, Cunha, Šeško, in that Grimsby Town loss. Šeško, you know, sort of flopped in front of goal in regulation time. He did convert his penalty, but he waited till the 9th or 10th penalty. He did not want to take a penalty for Man United, which is not a good look, really, for him. And then both, of course, also the other two big money signings, in Mbeumo and Cunha, missed decisive penalties, which saw Grimsby qualify. Now, look, you don't judge them just on penalties. Mbeumo scored an open play, did benefit off a deflection. They are good players. It would be silly to, like, churlish to suggest otherwise. But just when you think they're sorting things out, there will always be a banter problem with Man United. Like, in the modern era, so like post-Fergie, there's like a little blanket and they can't cover their whole Man United body. They'll be like, oh, the attack's bad. We'll pull the blanket up and suddenly the defence is bad. Or wasn't that a Rafa Benitez metaphor years ago about the blanket, defence and attack? Anyway, I'm getting lost in the weeds here. I keep trying to work out what's wrong with them. And obviously you look at them now, well, they've got a terrible midfield, subpar wingbacks and a terrible goalkeeper. So how did they get here after spending so much? They should have sold Bruno. I know that was like a very divisive thing in the summer transfer window when Saudi Arabia came in. He decided to stay. He did say that if the club want to sell me, I'll go. Or if the club think they'll benefit for some money, I'll go. He should have gone. He should have just taken the bag. I don't know if it was Al Nassr, if he could play with Ronaldo and, you know, Joao Felix now or whatever. I don't know. I mean, good, fair play to him as a captain staying, but the truth is, in reality, because they've got Mbeumo, Cunha, and even Mount, who operates really well in that front three behind a striker in Šeško now, they're playing Bruno Fernandes as a deep-lying playmaker in like a double six. It's an inappropriate profile for a central midfield in that system for Amorim. So they should have sold him, they should have made the money, they should have bought other players. And I'm not going to go through it because it's boring, but, you know, the bomb squad and the players are good young players, but they're not going to play for Man United, and Man United don't want them to play for them. Rashford, Antony, Garnacho, Sancho, yada, yada, yada. It's all a mess, top to bottom, inside out. And then the optics from the top, Ineos, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, yeah, he's come out, did that silly interview with Gary Neville, sounded like a bit of a knobber. You know, when Gary Neville was giving him solutions and he was going, oh, I never thought of that. You own Man United, bro. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, mental. But the big question, of course, now is Amorim. Do you sack Ruben Amorim? Because maybe you should. Like, genuinely, maybe you should. My position on him has always, up until recently, been the same. I like the cut of his jib. I like how he's like, nah, this is bollocks, this is all terrible. He doesn't try and until he came out after the Arsenal game and said, we proved today we can beat any team in the Premier League. They proved that by losing to Arsenal at home. No, you didn't. And then you've lost to Grimsby Town. So I get it, they played kind of well for a little while, but just you've got absolutely no reason to believe they can put in a performance again at any given time. You just got no idea, right? And he says, oh, it's not about the formation, it's not about the formation. When asked that yesterday after the loss, he said, look, it's not about the formation, it's about the players. And maybe there's a degree of truth of application, but you are the coach, bro. And I'm sorry, I know everyone's making this comparison. I made it again recently, I'm going to do it again. Thomas Frank's gone into Tottenham. I'm sorry if you're starting to roll your eyes here, but it's true, bro. He's gone into Tottenham. These aren't his players. Amorim's had way longer with United. He's brought in his own targets at United. Frank's literally just bowled up, and they've said to him, oh, we've got in Paulinho on loan. But he's just looked at the players and gone, right, bang, bang, bang. Now, Thomas Frank, with that Manchester United squad, he will look at it and go, right, these are the weaknesses, this is where we have to play, this is the way we have to operate to be a good outfit. And he would make them a good outfit. There is no way on God's green earth that Thomas Frank loses to Grimsby Town with that footballing roster at Manchester United. There was no way. It just doesn't happen. And I'm not putting Thomas Frank up as like some footballing god. I'm just saying, it's infuriating as a non-Man United fan, as someone who's enjoying this downfall. I'm a 36-year-old Chelsea fan. I've long seen Man United have the good times, and may the bad times continue forever. But from just a neutral footballing perspective, it's just so frustrating. And I pose the question again, bro. Who is making him stick to the formation? I mean, okay, well, he wants to, but is the ownership, have they hired him knowing that he does that formation and they want him to stick to it? Or have they hired him because he's a good up-and-coming young coach and he wants to do it? Fair enough, do what you want. Do what you want. What's the sporting hierarchy at Man United now? You know, they've got Omar Barala, you know, Vivell, recruitment, and a couple of others. Are they going, yeah, you do what you want, mate? Or is someone going, this is nonsense? You know? Like Duncan Alexander, I don't know if he works for Opta anymore, the Athletic guy, said, like, you can't play 5 at the back at Grimsby. Manchester United can't rock up at the 4th Division Grimsby and be like, right, wing backs? You know, you just simply can't. And it wasn't even Ahmed playing as a wing back. They had, like, you know, Dallo and Dorgu as wing backs. If it was like Garnacho and Ahmad as wing backs and free attackers and, you know, whatever, fine, go and slap the crap out of Grimsby. But it wasn't, bro. You just think, oh my, free centre backs, and then you lose. It's such a terrible look. And now that was the second round. Getting eliminated, Manchester United getting eliminated from the League Cup in the second round when they don't have any European football is in isolation hilarious. And obviously they couldn't play like a Liverpool, a Chelsea or a Man City because these teams haven't even entered the competition yet. They get in the next round because they're in European football and, like, you know, a good European football. So, like, somehow, could they have been drawn against Brighton, who won 6-0? You know, if they got eliminated by Brighton, who can give bloody noses or whatever, it would have been bad. But it would have been bad because it's the second round and they're not in Europe, yada, yada, yada. But the fact how it was the Grimsby and then Man United, and all the big boys featured, mate. It's slightly rotated starting lineup, but still way too strong for, you know, for any EFL club. A Championship club, they should have beaten comfortably. A League One club, they should have beaten comfortably. A League Two club, they should have just demolished. And the fact that they brought on all the big guns, everyone featured. All Amorim's best players featured. Nada. Nothing. And of course it went to penalties and it was a really long penalty shootout, but Grimsby Town had a good goal, rule offside, so they should have won in regulation time anyway. So it was a nice thing for them to win the shootout and the pitch invasion and stuff. But look, should Amorim get sacked? I genuinely think so. Which is crazy, really. Because I never call for this I don't call for, like, managers of my club to be sacked. I can't remember ever calling for that. Like, even like when it was really bad with Potter, I don't even know. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I've ever called for a manager to be sacked. It's just not my style, you know. But, like, less points than Premier League games. This just demonstration of picking certain players, sticking to that formation. Again, like, unless he's being forced to play that formation to make it work, that's Sporting, but I did see people on social media on X, Alex from the Euro expert who works for The Athletic, he was criticising 5 at the back in the Premier League. And I do agree, because my position has been the same on it for months when I've been talking about Amorim and indeed other. It's good for the Premier League middle class, like your Crystal Palaces, and giving bloody noses to big teams. And this is what the guy Alex referenced. So when you have less of the ball, and you can be reactive, it's great. Crystal Palace beat Liverpool, Man City in finals. They got a result at Stamford Bridge. But when Man United are going to have all the ball, it's going to be tough. But I kind of reject that a little bit, purely because, again, referencing as a Chelsea fan, the last time my team won the Premier League, and it was 8 years ago now, gosh, with Conte, we won it. We're into the 90s with points. Three at the back system, control games completely. Granted, the landscape changes quickly in the Premier League, but Thomas Tuchel, yes, it's European football, won the Champions League with the exact same formation Amorim's playing. So Conte was more of a 3-4-3 with wingers. Tuchel was exactly the same as Amorim. 3-4-2-1, two inside forwards, yeah? Right. And not only did we win the Champions League, we were really strong in the Premier League, you know. We were just off it. Everyone said they just need a striker and they'll win. We signed Lukaku, it all went wrong. I won't go into that. But I'm not saying that it's going to make Man United Premier League title winners, because what I kept saying is it won't win the league now. It won the league with Conte, it won't win the league now. Now it needs to be a sort of iteration of a 4-3-3 for just generally how the tactical landscape is. But Man United aren't trying to win the league. They're trying to go from 15th, losing to an awful Spurs side, to top 8. And a back three system does that if deployed correctly and, you know, managed correctly, which is seemingly not happening. I think just freaking... Fortunately for Man United, they've got good players, really good players now, in certain positions. Of course, they need a midfielder big time. But they can get away, and a goalkeeper, but they can get away with everything else with like a Thomas Frank coach. You bring someone like that in who, I don't know, you know, maybe they could have like turned Marco Silva's head from Fulham and been like, just don't make us a serious team. You know, Oli Glasner from Palace. There you go, perfect example. Oliver Glasner, master of the back three system. If he managed Man United, he'd be doing better than Amorim. And Amorim was a really highly rated coach. All these people for a long time have been criticising him, pulling up the stats, breaking new negative records. First, worst hiss, worst that, less points than games, you know. And everyone goes, yeah, but you know, he's awful structure there and he needs time. And he's had time. I think it's nonsense. I think it's done. Let me know your thoughts. Because some people will still defend him, but I think it's done. He won't get sacked, but I think he should do. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you for supporting the content, for liking, subscribing, and hyping. That helps me out. And I hope to see you back here soon. Peace!